Welcome. Ready to do some footwork today? We're going to focus on the feet, getting them conditioned for walking or any other activities. It's really important to keep your feet supple and mobile. It helps everything else up the chain work a lot better. So let's get started. I'm going to be sitting on the ground. I'm just using a little half dome to prop myself up. If it's comfortable for you to sit on the ground, then fantastic. A lot of what we're doing, you can also do sitting in a chair. So if that's more available to you, then do it that way. If you want to sit directly on the ground, that's fine, or a pillow, blanket, if it's more comfortable to prop your pelvis up just a little bit. Bring your legs out in front, and you're going to pull your toes back towards your knees and just do some windshield wipers with the feet back and forth, reaching them. If you can spread the toes, spread your toes as wide as you can. As you're moving them, give them a wiggle. Now go ahead and bring one ankle across one knee, and you're going to spread the toes, and you're going to take your fingers from that hand and thread them through the space between each toe, like you're holding hands with your feet. From there, to make it more dynamic, you're going to work the toes back and forth. Forward and back. You can even rotate through the ankle. Then spread your fingers so it pulls your toes apart. If you've never really done any work to waken up your feet, just notice if this is uncomfortable. Does it feel good? Can you find a limit to what you're willing to do? And just notice that. Go ahead and switch sides, let go of that foot. Bring your other foot across the knee. Same thing, spread the toes nice and wide. Thread the fingers through. And then you're just going to work the toes back and forward. Spreading the fingers apart, so you're spreading the toes, giving them a stretch in between. Rotate the ankle. Remember, any of these videos you can do as prep for your walk or recovery afterward. Or if you're just wanting to keep your feet conditioned before warmer weather, when you're ready to get back out, maybe do some barefoot walking. Excellent. Now I want you to come on all fours. You're going to stack the elbow under the shoulder, under the wrist, and stack the hip and knee over one another, so you're in a nice tabletop position, 90 degrees at the arms and legs. Bring your toes under you, under the foot, and you're just going to slowly work your weight of the hips back on to those toes that are bent underneath. So carefully load those. Then you're going to bring the hips back and forth. Really press the toes into the ground as you work the hips back and forth. Maybe you can feel a stretch all the way through the inside of the foot. Now you're going to push up even more, slowly, really focusing on the movement and the stretch through the foot. If this isn't available to you due to knees or hips, issues in those areas, you can also come up. My head's going to pop out of the screen, but you can come up. If that's hard on the knees, you can always bring a blanket or something under to bolster. So this would be bolstering and still working those toes underneath. And instead of moving the hips back and forth, you can just roll through the toes like that. All right, so you're coming back all the way. Keep your hands out in front, help you balance. You're just rocking back and forth, trying to get the heels down. Just do 3 more. Good. Now I'm going to go ahead and stand up again. My head's going to go up out of the screen, but we're just doing footwork. So just keep your eyes on my feet. You're going to go ahead and stand with your hips backed up so that your hip and your knee and your ankle are all in alignment. If I were to drop a plumb bob down, it should go through each of the joints. So check if you have a mirror. You want to make sure that the pelvis isn't coming out over your feet. Okay, so back the hips up if you need the support of a chair. In order to do that, that's perfectly fine. Bring one foot back behind you. You're going to bring the toes the opposite direction. So before we had them facing forward, now we're going to curl them under and we're going to put the top of the foot on the ground. From the front, it looks like this. If you have a mirror that you can work in, keep this stretching leg in a nice straight channel right behind you. You don't want to be out here like this or have any kind of twist in the pelvis. Just keep a nice channel. And we're going to go dynamic and bring the ankle toward the midline and then out, lateral. If the bottom of the foot starts to cramp, just come out of it, okay? And you can curl those toes under again, toes facing forward. Almost like you're taking a step, you can bend the knee, like you're gonna bring your foot through. You're just gonna slow it down and stretch the foot in the opposite direction, okay? Go ahead and switch sides. First, you're gonna check your alignment here. Hips are back, so your hips and your knee joint and your ankle joint are in a perfect line. And then go ahead and bring that other foot back. Top of the foot making contact with the ground. Top of the toes. You might only have the top of your toes touching the ground, and that's okay. But if you can get the top of the foot down, even better for the stretch. Again, keeping the leg in a nice channel. Go ahead and kick the ankle out laterally to the side and then towards the midline. Come out of it if your foot is cramping. This is our top of the foot stretch. Excellent to do, especially if you've been in shoes all day, especially if they're tight shoes or big bulky shoes or boots. Go ahead and bring that foot back behind you still. Toes facing forward, you're going to curl the toes and just bring the heel down, bring the heel back up, keeping the toes on the ground. Slowing down what would look like you're going to take a step and bring the leg forward. But you're just going to slow it down, push the toes into the ground, and really Try to get a stretch through the bottom of the foot. Do that one more time. Excellent. Now just standing here, I want you to see if you can just wiggle the toes or spread them out nice and wide. So just play with that. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Mobility through the toes is often neglected, but still important. And then if you need to take a pause here to go get a tennis ball, we're going to do some work with using the ball on the bottom of the foot. So you can pause the video and do that now. I'm going to grab mine. I've got my tennis ball. I also have a lacrosse ball, so very different in terms of how hard they are. So you just have to find what's right for you, what your feet can handle, what your goal is for doing the exercise. But I'm going to go ahead and use my little bit softer one just because I haven't done this in a while. And in the next few days, I'll probably work up to using my lacrosse ball. So from standing, go ahead and set that ball just under the big toe on the ball of the foot. And we're just going to do a little bit of vacuuming the bottom of the foot. So rolling that ball from the toes back down to the heels. And think about it as working in rows. So you're doing this row on the side of the big toe, a row in the middle of the foot, vacuuming all that, and then a row on the outside of the foot. And you can really play with the pressure depending on how, do you want to really put a lot of your weight on the ball? Are your feet very sensitive and you want to go a little bit lighter? Then you can put a lot of your weight on the back standing leg. I like to really get in there and work the muscles. So after you've done the vacuuming, you can just make circles. Also playing with the pressure, playing with where the ball is. So I can be up close to my toes, making circles. I can be in the center of the foot, getting into my arch. Or back towards the heel. Go ahead and switch sides. You're going to do the same thing on that side. Vacuuming out, starting with the line from toe to heel. Center of the foot. Back and forth. Cleaning up the joints, cleaning up the muscles. Outside of the foot. Yeah, slippery little sucker. And circles, starting up near the toes. Try to spread the toes out as you're doing this, making more space between the bones of the feet so the ball can really get in there and do some good work. Again, get your circles going in opposite directions. Middle of the foot, and then back towards the heel. And then you can always end with just pressure, really stepping into it. Ooh, found a hot spot there. And switch to the other side. So this is just 15 minutes with the feet. You can keep going. I would encourage you to keep going Keep going with the ball. Keep working the feet with the ball. Find, explore, have fun with it. It feels so good when you're done. And remember, be well, be blessed, and be free.